Food poisoning or foodborne illness is illness caused by eating contaminated food. The contamination can occur when the ready-to-serve food is exposed to infectious organisms such as bacteria, viruses, and parasites, or when those organisms already within food remain active during the improper preparation process. Food poisoning symptoms may vary depending on the types of organisms, their toxins, and your physical condition, and these include nausea, vomiting, and/or diarrhea, and in some cases, you will need to go to the hospital for professional treatment. As long as you are handling food, you have to keep the risks in mind and try to prevent them at all costs. Especially if you are working in a food service industry or running a food business, this risk management is crucial, because once this happens, it could cause a serious image problem on the business. This quick lecture gives you the basic knowledge about the types of food poisoning, causes, symptoms, and how to prevent them, and you will be able to minimize those risks. Salmonella is a bacteria carried by any kinds of animals and their excrements, and any food items stored or handled in an unsanitary condition. Its incubation period is about 6 to 72 hours, or average 12 hours after infection. And the major symptoms include high fever, stomachache, nausea, and diarrhea. Usually the symptoms will be relieved in about a week, but depending on your immunity condition, it can go severe due to the complications. The essential and easy step for prevention is to keep your prepping area clean and sanitized. Discard the cardboard boxes immediately after delivery. Separate cutting board between for vegetables and for meat products. And needless to say, wash hands after each process. If you share a knife during the whole cooking process, make sure to wash it thoroughly before moving on to cutting the next ingredient. Vibrio lives in salt water, and almost all kinds of seafood products have the risk of infection with Vibrio. Because sushi and sashimi use raw fish, this may be the biggest concern when operating those kinds of restaurants and handling food. The incubation period is about 6 to 24 hours after infection, and the major symptoms include high fever, stomachache, nausea, and diarrhea. Because human body naturally tries to remove the bacteria out of the body by vomiting and diarrhea, usually the symptoms will be relieved within 3 days. However, Vibrio can cause secondary and/or mass infection from person to person. It is important to take immediate action to avoid spreading infections. The easy step for prevention is to wash the seafood with fresh running water. Vibrio can only survive in seawater, so washing thoroughly and carefully can reduce the risk drastically. Cold temperature can slow down their growth, so if you are not immediately prepping the fresh ingredient, it is better to store in a refrigerator. This is one of the common bacteria that human body usually carries, and 30% of healthy body may hold this bacteria. It lives on the surface of skin or hair, and if you have a purulent wound, it remarkably increases the risk of widespread of infection. The incubation period is about 1 to 5 hours, or average 3 hours after infection, and the major symptoms include nausea, vomiting, stomachache, and/or diarrhea. Usually it will be relieved in 24 hours. The cause of the infection is actually not the bacteria itself, but the toxin that is produced during the process of its growth, which jumps into food and is taken into human body. The bacteria can be easily killed during the cooking process. However, its toxin is heat resistant. Therefore, it is very important to handle food items with cleaned and sanitized hands, bandle or cover your hair if necessary, in order to prevent its spread and growth. If you have any wounds on your hands, it is better not to touch food and cover the wound to avoid spreading. Anisakis is a parasitic worm that lives in fresh fish. The string-like larvae are about 5 mm up to 3 cm long. They are often found in species like mackerel, salmon, and squid. After consuming infected fish, they may develop within an hour if they parasitize on your upper digestive organ, or up to 2 weeks if they go down to your intestine. Symptoms typically include severe abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, and low-grade fever. And the major treatment is to physically remove the larvae from your body at hospital. Soy sauce, wasabi, and vinegar just for cooking and serving are not strong enough to kill them, so it's necessary to remove or destroy them during the preparation process. After infecting the intestines of their host fish, they move into their muscles when the hosts die. So if you're thinking of consuming freshly caught fish, remove the internal organs and fillet in a timely manner. As in demonstrated in the earlier video, the decorative cut on the skin surface is also a useful technique to kill the worm. They are deadly aggressive if taken in your body alive, but easily die with a little damage on their body, so chewing well before swallowing can reduce the risk as well. Otherwise, the most common procedure is to freeze the fish at -20 degrees Celsius or colder for 7 days. There are many types of food poisoning that can occur depending on the types of fish, cooking method, season of the year, and your physical condition. Those 4 cases, however, are some of the major illness that can happen in a food service industry at any time, especially at sushi restaurants. The public health regulations, including the proper temperature control, of course have to be followed as all the base. On top of that, the knowledge of specific infection route will help you prevent and control the risk. Since people live in various environments and eating food from anywhere at any time, sometimes it can get difficult to track down the cause of illness. Familiarizing yourself with possible illness in your establishment can also protect yourself in the end.